Michael
Okay.
Hernandez of MLH Media and Valley Fight News. And I'm here today with a 559 fights 99 middleweight tournament contender, Andrew Priolo. How are you doing today, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Yeah, I just had a long day at work, got off and just rushed up here so I could get this interview done.
Yeah, you got the
Yeah.
scrubs on, man. What were you doing for work?
Yeah. I'm an RN at a psych hospital, at an inpatient psych hospital. So, you get all sorts of walks of life there, right? You get people having just a really tough time in life. You get some people that are just really angry, or like some people that hear voices and stuff. You get a little bit of everything. So you also get exposed to all these different perspectives that you wouldn't otherwise see.
You learned anything from maybe a patient in there or maybe one of your coworkers that's like really stuck with you, and now that you're getting into the fight game again, really getting into this big tournament for 559 fights, you're starting to like think about certain things that you're doing at work, because obviously a job like that, it can stay on your mind throughout the day.
I'm kind of weird about how I look at all that stuff and just life in general. So I love working in psych 'cause you get exposed to all these different walks of life. But when you see these people, the difference between being a patient in a psych hospital or even a medical hospital is just circumstance, right? Like whatever, given the right or wrong events, depending on how you want to look at it, anyone can end up there. There's a huge stigma on mental health, which I think is just absolutely terrible. But we all got some kind of issues we're working through, right? Some people have it to a greater extent. But you just all these different perspectives, right? You're exposed to all these different perspectives in fighting, right? When in training and all that stuff, you're exposed to all these different perspectives. When you fight some guy who's got a completely different style, it's a lot like having a conversation. You know what I'm saying? It's all kind of the same thing to me. So on the one hand, I think my work and the mindsets and stuff and like the pressure, having to stay calm under pressure, I think that definitely translates over to fighting. And I think vice versa. Fighting helps keep me calm when I'm at work, especially when you have patients that are like literally trying to fight you. It's all, and I could extrapolate that to just everyday life, right? We're always learning lessons from each other, and yeah, I mean, so put simply, I think it goes both ways.
Yeah, you learn a little bit from them, and then obviously you're there to help them and to make sure that they get to the best circumstance. But I really like the way you think of it, man. We're all just in a way one step away or one thing away. And I have told even people that about homelessness. Obviously homelessness in California been a huge epidemic for a long time, and people oftentimes like to say things about homeless people. But I always say, you're a bill away from being homeless.
A
As
hundred
much as
percent.
people don't like it to look at it like that, you're a bill away from being homeless. And in the same regards, it's a lot like your mental health. You're one bad event, or you're one triggering thing away from going down a hole that you may not know how to get out of. And if you don't have the love and support from people that are around you every single day, or family members or friends, it's going to be a lot harder to get out of. But luckily we have lovely people like you that are doing these things to help out these people. And it definitely takes a lot, man. So I really wanted to give you your comments for that, and really highlight you outside of the fighting world, man, because that definitely takes a lot of heart. So kudos to you, my man.
No, yeah, I get really weird and existential about all that stuff. Like, but yeah, I'll take the compliment. I appreciate that. I work hard so I can continue to follow my passion and support my kiddo. I got a lot of stuff on my plate, but I love everything I do, and if I didn't love it, I wouldn't do it, right?
Yeah, that's a great mindset to have, and I know you're just gonna keep on carrying that strong. How old's your kiddo?
He'll be 13 in August. So
Oh, okay.
dude, it's crazy. I feel like I'm not old enough to have a 13-year-old. I had him when I was 16. I actually I've come a long way since I had him too, man. And it's been a struggle, when you don't agree with the other parent. You had the kid young, and like I was getting off drugs when I first had him, right? Like I probably would I mean, I'd probably end up being a patient at the place I work at had I have not had my kid, right? Like he really made me so like everything started, like everything now that's going on in my life started with him. The reason I push so hard for whatever I do. And the reason I'm so motivated to get stuff done, even when I'm sorry, disciplined. The reason I'm so disciplined when it comes to getting stuff done, because that motivation comes and goes, man. I don't feel like doing much of anything a lot of the time, but just I know it's got to get done. And I know that, I used to say I'm doing everything for my kid, and I'm doing it for me, for him. You know what I'm saying? All cliche and everything, but you only get to live once. You only get one ride. You ain't got no redo. So, I might as well do everything you can to live the life you want, right?
Yeah, you definitely lived that life, man. I feel like you've lived a life that a lot of people wouldn't get to say they've lived. You know, with how we were saying earlier, that paradox in a way, you having the MMA fighting background, and then also being a nurse, and then obviously being a parent on top of all of that. That's got to be it's so many different types of mindsets and different perspectives, like how we were talking about earlier, that really
Right.
go into the life of Andrew. What was the reason for you to decide getting back into the fighting game? I know you had taken a little bit of a gap, a little bit of time off. Was there a specific reason for that? Were you maybe harboring some injuries that were kind of a little tough on you at the moment, and you wanted to take some time off, or was there just a little bit of a mental gap you kind of needed to say, "Hey, let me get some stuff right, going other ways, and then we'll get back in the cage and we'll start killing it again."
I was the middleweight champ for 559 fights. Like I got that in like 2016. And I didn't defend the title. I was gonna have like two more fights, and then I was gonna go pro, and then that was gonna be that, right? I was just gonna continue. There was an injury that I had probably a couple of months after the fight for the 559 fights title. So that put me out for a little bit, and it was just a really tough time in my life. There was a lot of stuff that I had to sit back and prioritize, like how do I want, like at the time my kid was like
6.
5 or 6. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. And I didn't have the best relationship with him. You could, think what you want about that. That's neither here nor there. But I just remember, because at first when I was at LVN, when I was a vocational nurse, I was like, all right, this is just gonna be like a little day job while I'm making a name for myself fighting. And just injuries happen, kid drama happens, and I had to really he was getting a lot of behavioral issues and stuff. And then I felt like I didn't even really know my kid that well, and that honestly killed me, right? On the one hand, I love fighting, right? I love it. I really wish sometimes I could just put it down and just walk away from it, but that's not in me. That's not who I am. I'm a fighter, for better or for worse, right? I would feel dirty about being like, you know what, kid? Yeah, we're doing okay right now, but daddy wants to be a fighter, so we might get money in a little bit, or we might be able to live a cool lifestyle, but we might not until you're like, who knows? So, thinking about that, I decided on myself that I love fighting, as long as I got the time to train and commit to a fight, then I'm down. But nursing school, man, going through the RM program and getting all the prerequisite courses done, and it's so competitive that I really had to put fighting on the back burner for a little while. I finished my RM program, got my nursing pin last year, and as long as I know in my heart I'm doing what I going the relative general direction I need to go, I'm cool, right? I still feel like I'm doing this sometimes, but I'm doing it in the right direction. I finished my RM program, and I immediately was like, "Yo, Sonny," my head coach. I was like, "Yo, Sonny, I'm trying to fight," and yeah, I had to take kind of a mental break. I guess I had to take a mental break where I sat back and I prioritized, like, what am I gonna do to help get my kid at a better spot. And during this whole thing, I'm kind of like, it's been so long since I fought. I want to get some rocks off. I want to go fuck someone up, and like, I understanding that there's a time and a place, and really growing that patience, and that I guess patience would be the word for it. I think has just helped me on a lifetime life scale perspective. I think it's helped out my fight game, and let me tell you, like, I'm a completely different fighter than I was 7 years ago. And that's the last time it was like 7 years ago, man. July 29th, 2016 was my last fight. I fought for the state title, got knocked out real bad, shit happens, man. Me now would beat my ass 7 years ago, you know, like wouldn't even be competitive. So I am excited to go out and go break someone's face. Um, you know, I'm gonna go do my thing. He's gonna do his thing. Whoever thinks it out better is gonna do it, right? Like it's kill or get killed, and I don't want to die, bro. So,
Yeah.
you know, when it comes down, when it gets to that, I get kind of dark about it. But dude, I fucking love fighting.
No, that's it sounds like, and the passion that it takes for somebody to, like how you said, you had to take some mental reevaluations and see yourself as a father and be, hey, do I really want to have my kid in my life and have them be happy? And even if you did say you go pro and you make it big, is he really going to know his dad? And that's a big mental evaluation to have at that point in your life, especially with the success you were having. Obviously, I know your last fight you had got knocked out in the state championship, but still, you were having a very successful run. You were a five
Yeah,
fight nine fights
absolutely.
champ. You were. It seemed every fight you were coming to, it was selling out crowds. I mean, you can watch any of the fights you have on YouTube, they all were full of packed crowds in those amateur MMA uh, early days. I mean, so for you, how is it coming back to now? Does it feel a little bit different? Does the MMA sphere, does everything feel a little different? Does you coming back to fight, does it feel like, oh my gosh, I'm in a whole different ball game? Or does it feel a little bit reminiscent? Does it feel a little bit the same?
It's the same thing but different, man. Like before, I was like, I'm gonna make a name fighting. I'm gonna make it big fighting. That's how I'm gonna do my thing. At this point, I'm fighting because I love fighting. I feel like the last like couple of months I've been just kind of getting reacquainted to, going and performing out in front of a bunch of people, right? Like I've had some jujitsu tournaments over the last couple of years, and but like actually when you're playing face punch, right? I shouldn't say playing when you're punching someone in the face and you're getting punched back, and this dude's trying to make it so I don't remember who my kid is. You know, when you're doing it in front of people, there's all these people staring at you, like, fuck that bitch up, like talking to me, and I'm like, like kind of getting used to that again. That being said, I do feel honestly a little more disengaged from the entire fight community, just because I have so much other shit going on. I love my fight family. We like I don't know where I'd be without them. Honestly, I'd be in a really probably negative space. I probably wouldn't have gotten my RN. As far as like all my fight homies, like just the people that I'll go and casually train with and stuff. I wish I was able to like kind of keep up more with their stuff. And also, man, let me tell you, it has been so long since I've watched an entire like fight card. Really wish I could but I got shit going on, right? I'm either with my kid or I'm training. That's like, that's my life, man. I work, I go to school, I got my kid half the time, and I train. And like I honestly couldn't see life any different. Like I wouldn't want to have it any other way. Well, minus maybe the school, but and far enough into the program that like I have some stuff that comes up. I'm like, God damn it, I can't go out tonight because I got to do this, or like I got to stay up till 1 or 2 in the morning doing homework because I was at training till 9 or something. I mean, even then, I guess from that perspective, I always want to be learning, right? Like that's what fight. That's what's up with fighting, man. Like you're always learning, or like in nursing, right? Like you sometimes you'll have nurses that'll try to chop you down, and that's a real nasty thing, and that's a real thing that actually drives a lot of nurses out of the workforce. Is just the bullying that like I don't know, like nurses eat their young and all that stuff, and but like looking at it less like, oh, we're arguing, and more like we're having an intelligent conversation between two professionals and we're trying to expand each other's knowledge on this subject, right? And I guess that's like fighting, right? I mean, like
Yeah.
you're literally fighting, but no, it's two people that, and as far as I'm concerned, whoever it's two professionals or two, I guess, amateurs, but same difference. I don't know,
Too vying to
punching.
be professionals,
Yeah,
most
yeah.
likely.
I mean, yeah, right. So, two people talking about something that they're knowledgeable about, because fighting's a conversation, and we're trying to further each other's knowledge. Yeah, I guess there it is, right? Like we're trying to further each other's understanding. And that sounds super backwards because I was just talking about how this guy's trying to make it so I don't know who my kid is, right? Which is
But
completely unacceptable. Like you know, you sign that dotted line. This guy's saying, "I'm trying to make it so you don't remember who the fuck you are," and so there's that, right? You know, after it's all love and whatever, but leading up into it, like as far as I'm concerned, like it's fucking kill or get killed, man.
a very mindful yet present giant, the Frost Giant.
Yeah.
How did that nickname come into fruition, man? You're very intelligent, you're very how you would say you just you know how to put together a sentence very nicely, you know. And oftentimes when people are talking about giants, you know, they're talking about big guys. It's often not
Big,
associated with oh
yeah.
yeah, this guy's the brightest dude in the room. So how did you get the nickname the Frost Giant? How did that come about? Like, I was very interested when I seen your
Right.
fighter profile and was looking into you. I was like, I definitely got to ask him a couple of questions about that nickname, man. So I
Yeah, yeah. The reason Frost Giant came about was my first fight. I don't know, like I went out there and I just basically kneed this guy into oblivion and he like melted down and I slid like butter into mount and I just was beating his ass and the I was I was like, when's the ref gonna stop this? And one of my teammates or training partners at the time was like, whoa, dude, he was like a big like Marvel nerd, you know. And he was like, "Whoa, man, you like beat the hell out of that. You look like you're all big and white. You look like a goddamn frost giant." And it stuck. I was like, "Oh, it's kind of cool." And
yeah.
I mean, honestly, I think it's a cool ass nickname. Like
No, it's
you know,
reminiscent of like a Yeti, you know,
like a
like a
Yeti. You're right.
yeah. That's what I thought of when I was like, oh man, that's kind of intimidating if you really think about that lineage of that nickname. But that's
Right.
pretty interesting that it all came from one of the fans in the crowd, one of your training partners, just like, hey, you know, you kind of reminded me of this. You're gonna be facing Pedro Trujillo at the 559 fights tournament for the middleweight belt, and you're gonna be looking to get back that belt you had 7 years ago. And how does that feel for you? Do you know any of the other middleweights in the tournament? I know we were talking a little bit earlier about you not really staying in touch
Yeah.
with too much. You know, I know you got other fighting teammates, but you not being able to watch a lot of the fight cards. I know you probably haven't been really keeping an eye too much on the AMI scene. Have you heard of any of these guys' names by chance?
No, honestly, I mean, I've looked up some fights and stuff, but at the end of the day, it's me versus me, right? All that cliche stuff. Um, I'm excited though. He does look the dude I'm fighting, Pedro or whatever. He looks like a scrapper. He looks like a tough ass guy. I'm excited to go in there and we'll try to make each other stupid. I'm also not from 559, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
I'm out in like Vallejo, Fairfield. Yeah, it's like why would I know about that unless I was like keeping it distinct, like
Distinct eye, distinct, you know, just keeping tabs on everybody. Yeah, no, that's what I was curious if you had maybe heard of any of these guys on the scene or anything, but no recognition at all from any of those names. That must be it must be a little bit weird for you because I'm pretty sure you're used to looking at cards and being like, oh yeah, I've heard of this guy, I've heard of this guy, but
yeah.
no recognition of any of those names. And I mean, it can mean for the fight to go into it with a cleaner slate, and you know, you feeling like, hey, I can put as much damage on this dude as I want because I have no idea who the hell he is. He has no idea who the hell I am. So I feel sometimes that can make for a better fight, oftentimes. But just a couple of last questions here for you, Andrew. I've really appreciated your time today, and you know, you've been an awesome guest today. You really opened some boxes today on with me that I've really never really got to talk about with fighters. So I really appreciate you for doing that as well.
Sir.
But you said earlier you train at Train for Life out of with Nobody MMA, Blake
Yes, sir.
Perry, Terrance Saeturn, and Houston Scibek. How has it been training with those guys and seeing their success after you kind of taking your, you know, a little bit of a fall back from competing and everything? Was it pretty cool to see these guys come into the gym after a Monday and just, you know, like, hey, I got a win over at Bellator, or hey, I got a win over at 559 fights. Was it pretty cool kind of getting to see back, and was it a little bit like,
Yeah.
hey, I was right there?
Oh yeah, man. And like I said, so I say haven't been able to sit down and watch a whole fight card for like a long time. But like, I'll watch my homies when they fight. I'll watch my teammates and I'm fucking super stoked for every last one of them. all those people down there are fucking monsters. It's like you know, and we're growing and we're learning and we're growing every day, and you know, we're just gonna keep coming up, right? And but there is an element of like when you're seeing everyone else do it, you're like, fuck, I'm not doing it. But on the other hand, like I'm so happy for all my friends, you know, for they're my family, right? I'm so happy for all of them, and we're fucking living life together, man. That's the beautiful thing about it all, right? Like they're my family, and I love all of them, and I love getting punched in the face by them and punching them in the face.
Yeah, I would say that's the biggest love note that you can give of all. The best Hallmark card that Andrew could give to any of his esteemed friends is a nice, good right hand and little 1-2 combo. But is there any last comments, any last words that you had for any of the fight fans out there? Anybody looking to attend the event for 559 Fights 99 on July 29th? Any words for your opponent? Any last statements, my man?
Okay, yeah. All right, I'll talk to Pedro real quick. Pedro, we're gonna have a good fight. It's kill or get killed though. So I mean, whatever happens, happens. You do your thing, I'll do my thing. We're gonna meet in the middle and see what happens. That's what's up. For the fans and all that stuff, man, the support, like this wouldn't be possible without you guys. I was talking earlier in this interview about, you know, not just not getting in trouble for fighting someone, but people are cheering you on, right? And I mean, whether you're talking shit or you're hyping us up or whatever, like it wouldn't be possible without you guys. So, you know, the fact that there's, you know, all these people that are coming to support, and like it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing, and I can't thank anybody who comes enough, especially, you know, some of my own, because I know I'm fighting more of a hometownish guy. You know, not directly hometownish, but you know,
From
like
the area?
559 from the area. Seeing any of my people come out and support is fantastic, but just seeing so many people there in general, it's like let's make it a fucking party. It's fights are like concerts, you know.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. They're like concerts. So let's go make some beautiful music.
Hey man, I think that's the best stuff that we can lay it off on, man. Michael Hernandez of MLH Media and Valley Fight News, and I'm going to be signing out with the one, the only Andrew the Frost Giant Priolo, as he is going to be facing off at 559 Fights 99 against Pedro Trujillo in the middleweight tournament for that strap. Cannot wait until we get to see this performance from this man. I know he's going to go in there and kill it. Cannot wait until we get to see the rest of that middleweight bracket to see who your possible opponent is. But until then, good luck to you, my man. I cannot wait
Yes,
until
sir.
July 29th.
Yes, sir. Thanks. Yeah, same, Z's. Yeah, it was cool talking to you, man. I appreciate the time.
Hey, it was all my pleasure, man. Thank you very much. Michael Hernandez, MLH Media, and we're going to be signing out with Andrew Priolo.